Well, let's chat to our correspondent, Mark Ashdown, who's with me. Also here, Dilpreet, an online tutor, and joining us via Skype, our technology reporter, Zoe Kleinman. Welcome to you all. Mark, let's start with you because we've had an update from the Prime Minister. Is the situation any clearer? Well,
not really. I think schools really want some clarity over this key worker list, and they didn't get that. They know they're vulnerable families, they're supporting them, but they really need to know which professions are going to be on this list. Once they know that, they can reach out to them, find out what their needs are and give them some support. We could be talking about 10-15% of the population, about 300,000 kids in London.
And what about teachers?
Well, also as well, what will happen with them? How will we manage this? Will they be in school still? Will they be on a rota system? Will they be doing stuff from home? Morale's pretty low because they feel rightly or wrongly like they've been kept out there, sort of on the front line, as it were, for longer than other professions. They need a bit of clarity. OK, Dilpreet, can I turn to you? How can schools use online tuition as a substitute for lessons?
So online tuition can really help ensure that learning continues during this time. Self-learning is a really hard skill, and by introducing online tuition, online tutors can make sure that pupils are staying on track with the syllabus. They can fill in gaps in knowledge, and I think most importantly they can also boost confidence at a really challenging and confusing time for these children.
And quite anxious possibly as well. Any tips for parents? How to manage all of this?
Yeah, so a couple tips. So first of all, I think it's going to be really important to help your child get a correct routine for them. So being in the school day, there's a lot of structure there. You have the engagement of your peers, and it's going to be very important to set up a timetable that works for them and has all the subjects that they need to cover, including the ones they might not want to do. And also to ensure that they're having regular breaks, so going outside, making sure that they're having meals at appropriate times and having that social interaction too.
OK, thank you for that. Zoe, can I ask you, what other resources are there beyond specific online tutoring?
I mean, obviously there are thousands of those resources, aren't there? Most of them are free. There are some really interesting ones depending on what your children's interests are. NASA has a free kids club. Duolingo is a really good language app that people recommend. And there's TED Talks as well, short talks about anything and everything. It's fascinating for all ages, especially kids. There's other things to think about. You know, if you're at home and you don't have an internet-enabled TV, it might be worth investing in something like a Google Chromecast or an Amazon Fire Stick. They're little bits of kit. They cost about £30. And what they let you do is to stream content from your phone or your tablet straight to your telly. And most of the big platforms will let you do it. Netflix, Amazon Prime, the BBC iPlayer, that sort of thing. I think it's also worth thinking about stuff that you can split screen, you know, if you have to share resources. So, for example, if you've got a games console and your kids like Minecraft, you know, that's renowned as being an educational game to play, and you can split screen it, so you can have two people playing the same game on one screen at the same time. I know this because my kids are doing it right now.
And just very briefly, Zoe, a sort of tech question. Given everyone will be online at the same time, a lot of pressure on the networks. Can they cope?
There is, and we are already seeing the networks saying they are seeing a spike in traffic. So far, they're confident that the system can cope. What they're saying is individual platforms might struggle. If your kids are Fortnite players, you might know that there were problems with that on Tuesday evening. You know, these things are going to have to just kind of even out, I think, as demand and supply, and the way in which these companies can bolster their platforms will hopefully mean that nobody falls offline for very long.
OK, thank you. Dilpreet, to you, you know, it's one thing listening to a teacher, it's another listening to a parent. And also, what about children who don't have access to a computer?
That's really important to consider, and our research shows there's around 10% of Pupil Premium kids, and those kids won't have access to the right tech or the internet, but schools do have the ability to make sure that they get these online lessons. So Pupil Premium is something which all schools have access to, and they can use that to find the right support and find online tuition for these pupils, because as you said, some people just won't be able to do it themselves.
Yeah, and that's hugely important, isn't it? And Mark, a final thought from you looking ahead.
Yeah, well, what's going on with nurseries? We still don't know that. Big worry for a lot of parents. Easter, will schools be expected to stay open for Easter? They could in effect become creches. What happens with staffing then? And the big elephant in the room, exams. Ofcom, we know, are talking with exam boards about how you award an exam which has only been partially sat, as it were. We understand there'll be a full appeals system in place. That might be busy, given that a term and a half, in effect, is just evaporating here, where people could argue they could improve their grades. The Prime Minister said we should be turning the tide in 12 weeks. People think that's optimistic, but remember, that's the start of June. This has a way to run yet.
Yeah, people want and need clarity, understandably. Mark, Dilpreet, Zoe, to you all, many thanks. Thank you.